The Lester's Grill, Carolina Hotel, Jim's Lunch for hot dogs, we'll eat our fill. Sam and Max Shoe Shine, I'll pick up the bill. California Sandwich Shop, we'll find our thrill. Down on Hamburger Square, Hamburger Square. Some of my favorite people down there. Down on Hamburger Square, Hamburger Square. Sam and Max and little Esther's down there. Got something can't be taken away. The power of love, baby, what I say. Max Corner Grill got the mystery mounds. It's Blumenthal's and you know you're downtown. Down on Hamburger.
On November 4th, 2025, the citizens in Greensboro will be voting for a new mayor. After the primary on October 6th, the field is narrowed down to two people. Former Mayor Robbie Perkins and current Mayor Pro Tem Marikay Abuzuaiter. Greensboro Community Television has reached out to both candidates to have them on individually. I have planned to ask some of the same questions to each candidate to keep things as fair as possible. However, this is a discussion format, so we may drift. This is not necessarily a debate, so there'll be some room for candidates to open up, which is what makes this forum so beautiful. This is why I love this. So, without further ado, Mary Kay, thank you so much for being on.
Oh, I'm very honored to be here. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, this has been a wild ride for you.
It has.
Yeah. You have been on since on the city council since 2011.
Correct.
Could we just open up and can you just talk about what your early experiences were like when I said before the program I kind of wanted this to be an educational format too, like. I was just curious as to about how things like closed format sessions and things like that. But we'll get into all these things. So tell me about some of your first experiences when you got in.
So I will say that I was one of the lucky ones. I already knew Yvonne Johnson. She was at large at that point. Have known a lot of people in the city of Greensboro that way. And I had taken the Citizens Academy, which taught me about all of the different departments in the city. And I had also, right when I first got on council, took the Citizens Police Academy. So having those experiences absolutely helped me know, in an odd way, everything I was supposed to do when I got on council. And I want to say odd way because yes, but you still have so much you need to learn. I knew a little bit about zoning. I knew a little bit about the water department. I knew a little bit about the police department. All those things as a resident that you encounter every day, which is what city council does. It affects you every day. But taking the Citizens Academy, it was a little more in depth. And so when I was first sworn in on council, I knew that Yvonne Johnson would help me. I knew that Nancy Vaughn would help me. We were the three at-large ladies. So I was lucky, and I was able to learn so much from, anytime I asked a question, they were very open about, well, you need to do this. You can ask that person. You need to do this. Your city manager will help you get through that. So all of those things were just really special. 2011 to 2013, we were the three at-large ladies, and we go out to lunch together, and we learned a lot from each other. I learned so much from Yvonne. Of course, knew her before, and I learned quite a bit about the current mayor, Nancy Vaughn. So, it was delightful. It was not a deer in your headlights moment. I felt comfortable knowing that I had people to call on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, with this recent, what do you call it? The primaries, you had 39% of the vote. How did you feel when you hit that mark, when those numbers came in?
I won't deny it. That felt pretty good because going into the returns coming back for the primary, I had no idea. I had absolutely no idea what was going to happen. I knew that my opponent had raised hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I knew that the people I know, and the people that I am with every day in the community, we only raised $55,000. So I knew there was that gap, and that was a little scary for me. I won't deny that, because I couldn't do all the huge TV commercials and the other things like that, all the big print media. But, you know, I don't know, there was a sense of calm that day. Everybody said, well, why aren't you stressed today? I wasn't stressed at all, because up to that point, you know, basically my entire committee, except one lady, I reimburse her for her time, you know, we're all volunteer. And I put my children to work, I put my neighbors to work, I put my friends to work, because they offered. They said, what can we do to help? And that meant so much to me. Like, they were addressing envelopes and postcards and, you know, all of these things that, you know, usually cost you a lot of money to have done. Now, I'm just very thankful for that. But yes, I had no clue what was going to happen. When I saw the returns start coming in, when I saw early voting was in and I was ahead, I was like saying a little prayer, like, yes, maybe. And then when all of the returns started popping in, I will tell you, I never, ever think about whether I've won or not till that last precinct comes in. Never. Because 2009, that last precinct came in and I lost. That is when Greensboro annexed the Cardinal. So 5,000 votes went behind one person. And so I never, and you can ask my committee, we have a tradition of what we do. We go out for a light dinner, like a sandwich, and we walk to the courthouse and we sit there and watch the returns. And, you know, seeing them coming in, I was feeling good, but I still waited till that last precinct came in. So it was like 9:45, I think, when they all came in, and I was very pleased that the community thought that highly of me, and I was very honored.
It's like the old Yogi Berra quote, nothing's over till it's over.
Nothing's over till it's over, exactly.
So backing up from there, what caused you to move on from the at-large to up to the mayoral position, or to run for that?
Right, and believe me, I've gotten that question a lot, because, you know, I lose that seat no matter what happens. So I've enjoyed every minute of being at large. I have an amazing community in Greensboro, and everyone asks me, well, why are you doing this? I'm doing this because I don't have an agenda. I don't have an ego. You know, I may be seeing 4 to 5 new council members, and someone needs to be able to share knowledge with them about the city and how we've gotten to this point with all of our successful economic development, with all the companies coming. Someone needs to share with them all of the things that have happened leading up to that point over the last 12 years. So I'm the only one, I'm the senior person right now on the city council, the one who's been there the longest. No one else has been there since 2011. And I've been in on the ground, and I've been working with everyone. And I want to make one thing perfectly clear. Yes, Greensboro and the city council are celebrating these successes, but it's so much more than that. It takes a team. You've got the Chamber of Commerce, you've got economic development recruiters, you've got Carolina Corps. I'm vice chair of the Piedmont Triad Regional Council. You know, I'm chair of the Piedmont Authority for Regional Transportation. So you have a lot of regional partners too. And we all talk about it and how can we get these companies. And now that we are seeing them come, it's just amazing. It's like all that hard work. But we need somebody to guide this new council. And I'm the only one.
Given that, I was curious, tell me about some of the things that you've learned, given, you know, your experience since 2011 being on the council. Like, what are some of the things you learned that you feel like you need to head up the council?
So I've learned that a lot of times council members come on with a focus on one item. So yes, now district people, district representatives, yes, they are representing their district and they can go gung-ho on what their district needs. However, We all still have to think about the whole of Greensboro. And that's one reason I was even asked why was I running at large many years ago. But that's one reason, because whether your district at large, you can't focus on one area in Greensboro. You've got to be able to focus on all of it. And I think a lot of times, and I'm not specifically just talking about Greensboro, but people that represent one part of the population in one little sector of the city, they kind of don't open up to everything, and they need to learn very quickly that, you know, you need to be a team player. You need to look at the whole, because if the whole gets better, then your tiny pocket of people over here, your population, the people you are representing, things are going to get better for them as well. So think about the urban loop. I'll use that as a perfect example. So, and it goes through every district, just about, if not every district. So I'm very proud because I'm chair of the Municipal Planning Organization. It's the Transportation Division. And our committee was the one to approve the federal and state grants so we could finish the loop. Because how long has the loop been in production? 60 years. Started being planned on 70 years ago, I think it was. And because we're able to finish that last part, it's opened up our city to economic development like we've never seen before. And acres of land that we can use for all that housing we need now, because Jet Zero and Boom and Marshall Aerospace and Toyota and Publix, everybody's coming here. It's just like, and as a small business owner for 22 years, think of all the small businesses that are going to thrive now, and I'll tell you why. In the 90s, when the textile corporations were here, my little restaurant out on Lawndale Drive was the busiest it ever had been. And we need to attract those big corporations. I'm a small business person. I fight for small business. But when the big corporations are here, all the people working there, all the people, all the workers, everybody, they use Greensboro businesses. And that's where your small businesses can move ahead. So it affects everyone. And when you're first on council, you need to realize everything affects everyone, and everyone is still your constituent.
We touched on this before the program. Can you talk to me about, and you touched on it just now, economic development and, you know, what goes into attracting these businesses?
So we work very closely with the chamber, and when we have areas that we believe need more economic development, you know, we've pushed the east, and we were able to acquire Publix. With the mega site that was in Randolph County, we were able to help and assist attracting Toyota. Remember, we lost the bid the first time, but Toyota remembered us and thought it might be great for their battery plants. So, you know, that was a huge win for the area. And people say, well, but it's not in Greensboro. Okay, but we're 20 minutes away, sometimes 15 minutes away. So, you know, it's like people are going to live and come to Greensboro because we're the big city. We're the next big city. So all of those things can only make everything better. So that's part of the East. And then in the West, our economic development is skyrocketing. And I have to give a shout out to the Piedmont Triad International Airport Authority. You know, they do a lot of, you know, we've got a great airport. We're starting to renovate. We're doing this. You know, getting that word out, because logistics is what it's all about. And I'm so heavily involved in transportation and transit that I realize you have to have those good roads, the logistics. You have to have, you know, the good airport. You've got to have so many things. And believe me, like the urban loop, you build it, they will come. They will come. And you can go to the airport, you can go to Publix, you can get on the loop and go and get off wherever you need to be. And I had so many people say, oh, but it's going to ruin business in downtown. No, it has not. Of course, we need to attract more good businesses downtown. I don't deny that. But really, it has not really hurt the downtown. The downtown is still vibrant. We've got Tanger Center, the International Civil Rights Center and Museum. We've got the Children's Museum. The list goes on and on and on. I get too excited.
That's funny you talked about, you brought up another baseball reference, and we're in the playoffs. And
Yes, yes.
right now. But anyway, since you brought up downtown, I'm curious, this is a big thing on everybody's mind is parking downtown. Can you talk about that? Is there any plans for adding parking or anything like that? Because that's always an issue trying to find.
So,
and this is not something just Greensboro. You could go to Asheboro, Raleigh, or any one of these big
any
cities.
place, you're still going to have that problem. With the new parking deck that's over near the baseball field, it's really nice. It has helped because we honestly did not know that we were going to have to take down the Belmead parking deck. But when the engineers found the danger, we had put some Band-Aids on it thinking that it would last a while until we could figure out something. But, the safety of our residents is the highest concern. And, in my mind, we had closed sessions on that. And, we've got to take this down. It's just too dangerous. Because, every year we had the fireman's climb on the Belmead deck. And I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, and cars are parking up there. And little bits of concrete are falling on their cars. No. So, we lost a lot of parking there. Now, I will say that we had a federal grant for the trolley, and it was extended for 6 months. I think it runs out in December. But, I wish more people would ride that because you can park at one end of Greensboro downtown and you can ride all over. My husband and I usually do it on Saturday afternoons, and it's so much fun because we can go all the way down, we can go all the way up and be let off to go to a Hoppers game in the summer, or so many things. And now it's going to be going out to Revolution Mill. You hop on and you hop off. So you can park anywhere and find the trolley, and it runs all the time. There's only a few hours that it doesn't. So. I think that's something we need to invigorate and let our community know. These things are available, and I'm not sure we're good at marketing it, though.
I was going to say, is that what's missing? Because you said that people, not enough people are riding it. Do you think that's what's missing? Why do you think people aren't riding it?
We do a great marketing campaign. I certainly want to say that. Staff does a great job. But now the world is looking more at what's on their phone and Instagram and TikTok. Now, we do those, but somehow we're not reaching the niche of people who need to know. And then we have to think about the people who don't really get on the internet at all. We want to make sure they know, because a free ride up downtown, that's pretty good when you want to go downtown and see places and do things. And going to be a new theater downtown, and we've got community theater that's downtown, Carolina Theater, all of those things. So I'm heavy on trying to use the services that we have, and it's free.
I was about to ask, I probably should open with this, but that's okay. We'll do this anyway. John and I, we went over to Don Vaughn's class, which is, I believe it's called City Government. Mm-hmm. And he has the state of the city, where he had it was the tale of 3 cities actually this year. It's usually the tale of 2 cities.
Yes, had the 3 mayors.
Yeah,
yes,
and it was really cool actually. And he asks, what is the state of the city? So seeing as you've been on, what do you think the state of Greensboro is right now?
I'm going to tell you, we are on a trajectory of success that has never been seen before. I truly, truly believe that. Greensboro is coming into its own. We lost a lot in the 90s when the textile companies left. Then we had a little bit of we're okay in the early 2000s. Then we had the recession. So the recession, I know so many businesses, it affected us as well, who either had to close or, just really went belly up because, the recession hit, I would say, almost everyone in some form or fashion. Then, even personally, we came out of the recession, but it's kind of like, what is Greensboro's identity now? What do we do? What are we known for? Of course, we know the civil rights Center. We're known for civil rights and advocating for civil rights, and we're also known for textiles, and we're known for this. And, you know, little things came along, and of course, being known as the denim capital, and then, you know, we had the ACC, and then now that's gone. But, you know, now we're reinventing ourselves in so many ways. I mean, manufacturing, IT, engineering, aerospace. Who knew that A&T had a department that had aerospace in it since 1969? I've learned all of these things, you know, and it's like, wow, you know, talk about a vision for the future. So, you know, you've got that, and now all of the community colleges and everybody are going into the aerospace, the aviation center at Guilford Tech, all of these things. So, you know, we're on this trajectory, and I don't see it going away anytime soon, but we need to stay consistent. We need to be strategic. We can talk about housing in a little bit. But, you know, we need all of these things. If you do it with intention, you do it with purpose, you do it strategically, which is what we've done over the last 12, 14 years, then you're going to have that success. So Greensboro and our identity, you know, we're a little bit of everything, but we're becoming an airport area hub. We're becoming Eastern, you know. I have to say, part of it is due to the urban loop. I truly believe that.
What do you think the biggest issues facing Greensboro right now are?
So I would certainly say we have an issue with the homeless population, but, you know, we've been working on a lot of things. Now, there are people who say, well, it's a county problem because, you know, they are the ones who receive funds for social services. And to a point that is true, but these are people that are in Greensboro. So we also need to think of ways to help them get out of the situations they are in. Unhoused because of losing a job, unhoused because of a mental issue, unhoused because of a drug addiction, all of those things. You know, there are some students who are unhoused, and I'm talking like school age students. So Greensboro has some wonderful programs, and we're getting ready to launch something else. If you've heard of permanent supportive housing, it is housing where you take someone who is unhoused and put them in it's not a facility, I don't want to use that word, in a development that has the resources they need on the premises. So if you have someone with a mental issue, there will be a counselor there. If you have someone with a drug addiction, they will find resources to get them out of that situation. And also, I want to commend our police department because they have the behavioral health team that goes out on calls when someone is having a mental health crisis. And the social workers talk to them and see if they can get them some resources. And, you know, it has taken a part of the burden off of our police officers because the behavioral health team is answering over 400 calls a month. And that's a lot.
Now, are they 24 hours now?
Not yet.
Okay.
And that is the concern that we have. They are not 24 hours yet.
I remember talking to them, they were in a trial period, they're like 8 or 10 hours? Is that something?
Yes, but I believe they've added some hours there.
Okay.
They've gotten people and a few grants here and there,
Yeah.
small grants. So they, but you know, in the middle of the night also is when people have mental health crises. But they also go out on the drug addiction calls. And so that helps relieve our officers so much.
Yeah.
You know, and truly, the second thing that we have a challenge with, I would say, is housing. And housing, of course, when everyone says, well, we need affordable housing, and we need this, and we need that, we need all types of housing. We need everything from apartments to duplexes to triplexes to townhomes to single family to, of course, multifamily, and we need every price range. And so what I call it is attainable housing. What's attainable for one person may not be attainable for another. And we need to find everyone an attainable home, is what I'll call it.
I've heard that term before. What is the difference between affordable and attainable?
Affordable is an okay word, but it has a bad connotation. If you say you're going to be looking for an affordable apartment, everyone automatically thinks you are going out with a housing voucher and you are there's something wrong with you. They look down on people when they say affordable housing, and that's so untrue. It might be someone who just needs a hand up for a little while. So we just say, attainable housing is something that can be used for everyone. And even the corporate executives, they need attainable housing. It's attainable for them. It's going to be a lot more than the other person's, but it's still attainable. And you want to make sure that people can sustain their housing. That's huge. Because right now we have some issues because prices have gone up. Everything has gone up. Even the city's expenses have gone up, which a lot of people forget sometimes.
We're going to get to that.
Yes,
the
yes.
healthcare. Well, keep going.
Yes, and but it's just everything is rising, and luckily in the city we have gone up on our salaries enough that our employees should be able to reach some attainable housing. I'm very proud of the fact that I led the initiative for the police officer raise, because we were short 120 officers. And that's only a year and a half ago I made that motion.
I was going to say, this was not a very popular time. The police were not exactly in a good light, too.
Yes,
so this was a hard notion.
And, and also our local municipalities were taking our officers because we train them so well. And we have a gold CALIA rating. So, we would train them, they would work a year or two, and then the smaller towns, I'm not going to name any names, would entice them to come for a lot more money. So when we did that, now we are at full complement, but of course we still need more officers. There's no question about that. But after this academy graduates next week, we will be full, and the 120 officers we were short goes down to like 5 or 10. So, I'm very proud of that fact. But, talking about that, they need homes too. We have some wonderful programs that it's hard to get the word out. It's called Homes for Heroes. So police officers, teachers, Guilford County employees, anyone who qualifies, there is a vetting process, they can get up to $30,000 for a down payment for a home. Now, how many people know that? How does it get out? And I'm not disrespecting any of our staff members. We've got a great department. But how do we get that message out to everyone? That's the key.
I was going to say, I asked this question to the three mayors when in Don Vaughn's class on the Tale of Three Cities, was that what are you going to do to be, because it's a very competitive market now versus 10 years ago. I remember, I've been out for the fire department 8 times for the City of Greensboro, and that's how competitive it was.
Yeah.
And that was probably about the average, going for it. And then the economy kind of shifted. And this is what kind of entered my mind after I asked the question, was that, everybody was dying for a job then. Now it's about competition between Winston-Salem and Charlotte and all these other places that have a different benefit package or a different pay scale. What are you going to do to be competitive for not just, fire and police, but city employees in general?
Yes, and we just went up this past budget year on our city salary. So no one is getting less than $22 an hour. Pretty sure that's right. There was a lot of back and forth between 20 and 22, and I know that they would be able to start and reach 22 very, very quickly. Very much like our officers, they would start at $57,000, but after they finish the academy with the knowledge they had and things, they could be up to $60,000 the minute they go out on the streets. So, we have had to raise all of our salaries all across the board. The police officers did get the biggest raise. I will say that because of, they will sacrifice their life for you. But it was needed at that time because you're exactly right. The other cities were taking our personnel. They even taking some people in many of our departments because we pay well. So right now, we asked for, I believe it was 6 years ago, a market study. Now we've had to revise it every year and get a new one. But we did a market study, and the departments and the personnel and the employees that were under market rate, we have brought them up to almost full market rate. So we stay on that, looking at the competitive rates over all the cities and our peer cities, because we have to. We have to, because if you have a good person who's been in the department for 15 years and I'm not going to name any city names, I might get in trouble, but a local small town not far from here, then they're going to pay X amount, which is 10,000 higher than what you're paying, but you don't want that knowledge to leave. What are you going to do? And you can't automatically raise this person up to that amount. So, you've got to find a way to make sure that your employees are happy with the wages they have, and that's why we keep doing the market studies.
And I will say, that experience is just invaluable. Just have someone that absolutely knows it, because I think people forget, that when you have to go from this, you have to make that transition from this citizen onto a professional, fire, police, EMS, whatever it is that you, even if you're a city, but there's a lot to learn, and it takes a long time to learn all those things, and to just have that walk off it's invaluable to have someone that's like that, and be able to fix things in a hurry.
And I will say, what urged me to make that motion that night was the chief coming to council. And he's never done anything like this. None of our chiefs, they come and tell us if there's issues, problems. But he looked at us and said, we're in a crisis. If we don't get some officers soon, I don't know what we're going to do. Mm-hmm. And, Charlotte is running through that right now. They're 1,200 officers short. So, I feel very good that we came this far, and I got the support of my colleagues, except for two. So. Yeah.
And I think across most jobs, it seems to be ever since COVID, like across the board, everybody's going through this sort of thing.
Everybody. It's not new to us.
Yeah.
It's not new for us, but we've heard about all the other cities. And I will say a lot of cities are going through much worse than we are. So I feel good that, we're still attracting companies and we're still having people wanting to move here. Now, we've got challenges. All the construction downtowns is kind of rough for us trying to get places right now. But when it's done, things are going to be so much nicer. People ask me about that all the time. So what happened is we've had to replace all the underground pipes in the city because they're over 100 years old. So that's been something.
I think people forget that the city itself is 100 years old, but it's been developed even before
prior to that. Yes.
So, okay, I will bring up something here. This was interesting. This came across my desk, and it was Crystal Black recently went before the city council and spoke about decades of divestment in underserved communities. She cites the lack of green spaces, grocery stores, job opportunities, lower property values. Not to get you in a District 1 quarrel here, but
no, it's okay.
You are going to represent the whole city.
Yes.
If you're elected. So, how do you address? Do you agree with her sentiments? And how are you going to address this?
So I'm going to take, and it's not a politician's answer. I won't do that. It is an answer from the heart. Yes, much of that is true, but there is also where, for many years, many people in those areas were asking for more affordable housing. So yes, it became inundated, and it needs to be spread all over the city. She is absolutely correct on that. Now, it depends also on the type of development and the type of housing going up. For instance, I was actually privy, I was at the community meeting, and a group of neighbors came and said they really liked this gentleman's work as a developer, and they would welcome his development because they'd already been in one of his developments. So that is, to me, a success story that the community wanted it. You know, part of the issue is a lot of times there are not the good type of businesses that need to be in those areas. A lot of times you got all the vape stores, you know, you've got so many things going on, or, you know, you know, I'm not going to speak ill of any corporate type things, but, you know, you've got the type of locations and stores that really are not lifting the community up. That is hard and something that I have vowed to work on, because what we hear all the time about grocery stores not being in those areas is the fact that the stats show the income is not in those areas. But I always argue with them. I always argue and say, but everyone has to eat. We need more grocery stores in the East, and that will help bring more good businesses. And I do want to say that I'm very pleased. There's actually going to be the Piggly Wiggly at Freeman Mill and Florida Street. That no grocery store in the whole area. And finally, we're getting one. And I envision, and I sure hope so, that other stores are going to start coming that are good for the community. And other grocery stores are going to see that they're successful, and I'll do everything I can to help make them successful. I'll go shop there, you know? It's certainly something that we can do. And when they're successful, other grocery stores are going to see that, and they're going to want to come, because, you know, there is a Food Lion on East Market Street, but basically that's it. And there's a Food Lion on West Meadowview, but basically that's it. So, you know, we need to, there's a Save-A-Lot somewhere along there, but you know, it's in those pockets, and it does happen to be where a lot of government housing is, that they don't have the good grocery stores. We still have the food deserts.
Wow. Now, my follow-up to that is, I'm thinking about, and I don't know what happened, but I was thinking about the community co-op that happened. I believe it was was it Phillips Avenue?
Phillips Avenue.
Can you tell me about, I remember that was a big thing. It had, it was like 9 or 11 owners, and, you know, that didn't go through, like, I don't know exactly what happened. I think it wasn't making the money they thought it would.
So all of us were very excited about the co-op, very. We all paid in to be in the co-op to get it started, and they got a really large grant to start. You know, the Phillips Avenue, it's called the Renaissance Plaza, was given money by the state, the city. Everybody kind of pulled in to make sure. Self-Help Credit Union, I believe, it was the main contributor, and they are still owners of that shopping center, I believe. Please don't quote me on that. I know I'm saying it on television, but pretty sure. But we were all kind of investors in the co-op and spent over 2 years talking about it, and everybody was going to support it, and, you know, it's going to be so awesome. And yeah, we all shopped there. I did every week almost. It just had a bit of a different flavor in products that the community was not used to, if that's the right word. And it had a couple of different managers, and it just really, unfortunately, did not do well. It could have been just a shining diamond in the city, but it just, I don't know. Mm-hmm. It was really sad when it didn't make it. It really was. So we're hoping, you know, that's when you say, okay, we've tried this. It didn't work. It's worked in other cities, but they're experiencing problems now too. And you have to look at the economy too. That's a huge part of it. But you know, I wish we could get a corporate grocery store in there.
Yeah. Okay. we talked about, I think we touch on the insurance?
No, not yet.
7% went up on the insurance and for city employees, and if you are, if your spouse, they happen to have another job that has insurance there, you also take a hit for them not being on your insurance. Can we talk about this? I know this was addressed in yesterday's council meeting, and I know Dave Coker went to speak about it. He went to advocate for the firefighters. But can you talk about this and where we're at with that? I know this will be aired a couple times before the election, so I want to say that.
Yes.
So anything that changes, let's not. But go ahead.
So, yes, and he came and we had gotten the memo about the increase, and I know that, my family's insurance, they have it on their own. Theirs has increased as well, so we know that's going to happen. It's a pretty big hit, though, when you know that your spouse's is going to go up $100 a month. That's a pretty big hit. So we had some pretty major discussion that evening, and he spoke. Mr. Coker spoke, and then we discussed, and we directed the city manager to go back, and the assistant city manager, both Mr. Davis's. And we absolutely directed them, to go back to the drawing board, so to speak. And they have come back with some options that we are working out and trying to make it a little more amenable, maybe lower the percentage rate. And we have extended the open enrollment time because there was not enough notice for people to think about how they could budget for this or how they could do that. And also a reduction in the spousal policy. Now, we have not approved that yet, so I want everyone to know at this point, when this airs, it was just a memo saying that we were discussing it, and we were well aware of the hardship it would put on families.
Yeah, and now the flip side to that is that what I learned is that the city is self-insured.
Yes.
Now they work with a company, but they insure their own employees' health, and the city is behind $7 million, I believe.
We're behind quite a few $1 million, and that is because when someone has a catastrophic illness, and there have been several of those. And the other thing is so many people, and rightly so, have gone on to the drugs that help you lose weight, and which in the long run should help their health, and they won't have to go to the doctor so much, right? But that drug is so expensive, and the city is paying the bulk of that. And I think we have something like 900 employees on those drugs, which we need to make sure they are healthy and get healthy. But the expenses of those drugs alone has been phenomenal. And trying to work through all of that. And I always encourage everyone, you actually have an option in the city. If you take the wellness program, you can get $150, up to $150 off of your insurance premium. So, all of that helps, but we need people to stay healthy, be healthy. And yes, if they need that in order to be healthy, of course. But the cost is, absolutely skyrocketed on that.
Yeah, that's a hit. Yeah. Okay, here we go. What makes you the best candidate for mayor?
Well, I believe that I'm the best candidate because I'm there. I'm accessible. I work with the community instead of talking at the community. I can't tell you how many community events I go to and work with them. Many of the festivals and the workshops and the feeding and the passing out things, because it's all about relationships. It's all about building those relationships, and I have been absolutely honored and blessed to have built so many over the years, because I'm kind of a worker too. I'm your mayor who's going to work with you and not be giving speeches at you. I'm accessible. I support public safety. I support everything the city is doing. I'm willing to listen to anyone who wants to be critical of the city, and I do. And I always like to give a few examples. I had some people come pretty hard at me, and I said, well, let's talk about it.
Ask.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
let's talk about it. And so the ones who have agreed to talk about, I'll meet them for coffee, or, give me a phone call, or let me see what I can do. And I would say probably 85% tend to start understanding why this happened, or what this is, or why it was misconstrued, or why we need to quit letting misinformation out, which unfortunately social media does a lot of sometimes. And it's just like, it's all about making those relationships and learning everything I can about this city. So I know I'm the best candidate. I'm just really, really excited to be in this position.
Wow. I was about to ask also, how many committees are you on? You started to cite all your committees. How many committees are you on?
Well, for some reason, I have a lot more energy than I deserve, probably. But I get up every day. Let's see, I am chair of the Piedmont Authority for Regional Transportation. I am the vice chair of the Piedmont Triad Regional Council. I am chair of the Municipal Planning Organization Transportation Division. I am, I'm on the board of Greensboro Arts Hub, Casa Azul. I'm former board member of Faith Action International. Oh goodness, I've got more. I'm on the board of Crime Stoppers. I'm on the executive committee and was a charter executive committee member for the Family Justice Center. I'm on the board of the Greensboro Academy, Greensboro Police Citizens Academy alumni. I'm with them, and we go out and do a lot of volunteer work. I think I'm just someone who doesn't want to stop. And people say, well, how do you have time to do your Mayor Pro Tem duties or your at-large duties? It's all included. We do it every day. And, this morning I was out greeting the new Greensboro professional women's basketball is coming to Greensboro. We've got a professional hockey team, all of these things. So those are the things that connect the community, and if I can get the word out about all the amazing things that the city can do for you, I think that's what I've learned over the years. And being mayor is not just sitting at a desk. Yes, there's going to be contracts to sign, there's going to be meetings to run, and I will say one thing about meetings, because as chair of the Piedmont Authority for Regional Transportation, I run a tight and efficient meeting. And you can ask anyone when I run a meeting. And I'm not saying that the current mayor doesn't. Please don't get me wrong. But when I first came on council in 2011, we were there till 2 a.m. or midnight. Every single meeting. And that was stressful when you were working a job and had children. So yes, I have a meeting for Piedmont Authority for Regional Transportation. Used to be 3 hours, used to be 2 hours. My meeting is an hour 15 minutes at the most. If you focus and you get your committees to focus and you are the chair, you can run a tight meeting. And I'm proud of that fact because we're all busy. But I love being busy, and I think you can tell that.
Now, are you talking about the city council meetings or some of these?
Well, city council meetings used to run till midnight or 2 a.m. So,
yeah, I remember.
Yes, and that's when I first got on council. Yes, we were there till 2 a.m. And a couple of times we could not adjourn because we weren't finished. We had to come back like at 8:30 a.m. the next day and finish. Yes, so I will say that the current mayor runs a pretty tight meeting. We're usually not there very late. But, in anything that I am chair or vice chair of, I've been able to bring efficiencies, which brings up a huge point, I've got to say. Efficiencies. Because we have a lot of duplication sometimes. All companies do. I am not disrespecting my city employees because I love each and every one of them. But there are duplications in all types, and the city manager has already been very aware of that and is working on that. And he's come out with some great things. The Road to 10,000 about housing, which we're going to reach way ahead of schedule, I know. He's come out with so many wonderful initiatives and things, and I really commend him. But, we've got to be efficient, and in efficiency, we can save taxpayer money. And hopefully, we can either keep taxes at the same level they are, but my goal would be one of these days, and I hope it's on my term as mayor, I can say we're going to reduce taxes. That would just make it, because we did in the 2021-22 budget. We did. We lowered it by 3 cents. And then we had to put it back up in order to pay all the bills and the police raises everything, or keep it at the same level. But I would just be thrilled if we could reduce taxes, because it is a burden.
I was going to ask, when you look at looking at duplication, like what are you looking at? Are you looking at what does it take? What did you find, and how did you go about that?
So the city manager handles that.
Okay.
We only have 2 employees: the city manager and our city attorney. City manager Trey Davis doing an amazing job. City attorney Laura Cubbage, who used to be a judge, she's doing an amazing job. But those are our only 2 employees. So I had mentioned to the city manager at one time, and he had already had it, so I'm not going to take full credit at all. I never do that. But, he was looking for duplication in departments, and he actually did some moving around of departments in their job duties. So we had, for instance, field operations, but that was everything. They were doing everything. So now he's broken that up into different departments, and it's really working well, because, they were not only, trash, recycle, all of those things, yard waste. They were also doing, the paving and all of those things with roads, or maintaining or repairing, and you've got to have that different, because it's not making sense that you're doing this and this and this, and you've got like twice as many employees in your department, because you have a section here that's doing this, a section here that's doing this. You can only be better when you concentrate on one thing at a time. If you're responsible for waste and recycle and yard waste, that should be a department. And when you are with road and maintenance, which you'll see a lot of that going on now because of what he saw and because of what we mentioned we'd like to see.
What are some of your biggest successes since 2011?
Number 1, I would say, would be the Family Justice Center, because prior to that time we were having, oh my gosh, the percentage, I can't even remember, but it was horrible. Most of our homicides were domestic violence or elder abuse or child abuse, things like that, and getting the word out for that, was awesome. Now, I started working in on that in 2012. I was brought in as a representative from the city, because it's a Guilford County and city collaboration. And to this day, we've never had a collaboration between the 2 that was successful. That successful, I should say. So that has stayed true. And it opened in June of 2015, I'll never forget. And when it opened, my mother was there. She was a domestic violence victim. And she was just thrilled, because in her day, women couldn't talk about it. And she finally had to flee with my brother and me. So it's very special that it opened, and she was thrilled. So I've never, even after she passed away, I've never stopped supporting that, because, it's something that you have to be aware of, and all women and men. We've had quite a few men who have been victims of domestic violence, but the staff there is just amazing. They just had the fire in that building, and they were having to work in the courthouse, in the basement actually, but they never stop a beat. During COVID, they were still in person because you never know when that domestic violence victim is going to walk in the door. So they were in person. And I think you'll remember Sergeant Nix worked in that. And unfortunately, he was killed in a violent act. But yeah, that is one of the things I am so proud of, because I was able to keep the momentum going for that in order for the city and the county to have a good collaboration. And so that was actually when I first got on council, and then 2015 it opened. My other one would be getting the police officer raise and pushing for the employees to be brought up to a certain level. Beyond that, you know, every day is a success story, but not just for me. It's for the whole city. Everything the city does. I'm thrilled that we've had no more pedestrian fatalities with trains. I'm on I'm an ad hoc member of the ATV team. I have my ATV certification. I go out with the police officers and educational. It's educational work where we, you know, kids will come out and talk to somebody on an ATV, and just think how they look when they see me and I take my helmet off. They're, oh, look at that. So, you know, no enforcement, no citations usually, but it's educational. And since 2017, we run a 3-mile stretch from Franklin Boulevard to Elm Street, and we have had no fatalities on that stretch. And prior to that, we had like 6 in a row. Wow. Over a span of like 4 years, but still, it was just like every year it was like that. And yeah, some were children. So,
oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah, that's hard. And that the officers that would go on those scenes are the firemen, first responders, or EMS, or you know, most train conductors, they usually quit.
Yeah.
Or have issues.
Yeah.
Because it's a horrible death. And yeah, and so we've trained the community, I hope, especially the ones on East Market Street, and the people who live right around there. Please don't walk on the railroad tracks, please. No earbuds, please. That's huge.
I learned this. It's technically trespassing because it's actually
Oh,
railroad.
well, that's one reason the officers go out.
Yeah.
Is because if the railroad police catches you on the railroad track, they will arrest you. Our police officers help monitor, and we get a grant for that, which I'm hoping the grant continues. We don't know yet. We haven't heard, but you know, it's something for the safety of our community. Mm-hmm.
Just a few minutes left. What do you do when you're not doing city council business?
Oh my goodness.
Or are you just on all the time?
That's a good question. Maybe ask my family. I do relax some. I have been the last couple of years really into hummingbirds. And I have like 7 feeders on my back porch, and so I sit and attract and watch the hummingbirds. I love being near water, so I'll either go to the Blues Lake or you know, the coast when I can, which isn't very often. But yeah, I do relax, but I'm always thinking of what can I do next. And I will say this, people say, well, just leave your city work at home when you go. But no, when I first get up in the morning, I like to respond to emails, and it might be 5, 6, or 7 a.m., whichever one I get up, if I don't have a commitment, and love to respond to emails, talk to the community, respond to phone calls. I don't do them that early, no, but you know, during the day. And it's just where I've kind of found my niche. I love it. I absolutely love it.
How early do you wake up in the morning?
It depends. Now, I sometimes get up at 6. 6 is my usual. Sometimes if I've been out really late at night, you know, with what we've been doing lately, I've been out pretty late at night. Or with some events, then I might sleep until 7. But, you know, if I have an 8 o'clock meeting, of course I'm going to get up at 6. So, yeah, but I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all.
Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you. I thoroughly enjoy this.
Yeah, this has been an educational experience, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
I hope everything goes well for you, and thank you for being on our program. And remember to vote.